Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim concluded his 3-day official visit to South Korea on a high note, securing 32.8 billion ringgit in potential investments from top Korean conglomerates into Malaysia. For more details, we turn to our correspondent Irfan Faruqi reporting from Seoul.
Thank you, colleague from Bukit Jalil. Now we are at Astro National University, SNU, for the last day of working visit, an official visit by the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. And at this very moment, Prime Minister is on his way back to Malaysia. And before we go in deeper about what have been achieved for the past 3 days, let's take a listen from the words of the Prime Minister himself about what are among the achievements from this official visit.
Setakat ini potensi pelaburan ialah 32.8 bilion ringgit dan ekspor yang hampir segera dari Malaysia mencecah 1.3 bilion ringgit. Kita juga minta disegerakan pembelian yang sudah beberapa tahun lalu telah diputuskan, iaitu 18 unit pesawat FA-50M yang sepatutnya sampai 2026, tapi kita minta kalau boleh dipercepatkan.
Apart from potential investments and few other matters about security and technologies and whatnot, during this visit also we have witnessed several MOUs being signed by both parties from Malaysia and Republic of Korea. But among the, I always say, important observation that we should make this is not just about bilateral meetings focusing on business and trade specifically, but beyond that, this is about friendship and relationship between the two nations. We are going to commemorate 65 years of diplomatic relations between South Korea and Malaysia, and in that particular point, Prime Minister, during his special lecture here in SNU, he mentioned about cooperation between multilateral cooperation between APEC or ASEAN should not be deemed as a cooperation by force. A big country, a superpower country, make a decision unilaterally and enforce it to small nations. Instead, cooperation should be of mutual interest. Let's take a listen again about what the Prime Minister mentioned during his special lecture.
We refer to subjects as elaborate, being wanting to be, strategic partners, and in terms of ASEAN and APEC and the region. To me, what is fundamental is humanity. Why do you talk about governance or politics? How is it that we can talk about a cohesive, united ASEAN if we lose this essence of humanity, compassion, and humanitarian values?
That would be the end of the conclusion of Prime Minister's visit here in Republic of Korea. Next year, among other things, during the exit conference, the Prime Minister mentioned that during June, there will be a summit for ASEAN and summit for APEC here in South Korea, ASEAN in Malaysia. The gap between the two summits is very close, so there will be a festival music of ASEAN Korea, something that we can look forward, but that's a report, and the details will be for another time. That's all for today. We're going back to colleague at Bukit Jalil.
In other news, all stations on the Kuala Lumpur monorail service will be equipped with Platform Automatic Gate Systems, PAGS, by the end of this year. Transport Minister Anthony Loh says the automatic gates are already fully operational at the KL Central and Tun Sambatan stations.
Menjelang akhir bulan ini, 4 lagi stesen akan siap dengan pintunya, iaitu Maharaja Rera, Indi, Hang Tuah dan Bukit Bintang. Dan selebihnya menjelang 31 Disember akhir tahun ini, semua stesen termasuk Raja Curan, Medan Tuanku, Titi Wangsa, Bukit Nanas dan Chowkit, semuanya akan siap dari segi penggunaan pintu.
The PAGS, costing 6.5 million ringgit, would operate in sync with train doors. As an added safety measure, each platform would have 3 emergency exit doors and fixed screens at both ends. Lok said the upgrades were necessary following a recent rise in incidents of commuters falling onto monorail tracks. He added that an enhancement project has been planned for all 11 monorail stations under Prasarana Malaysia Berhad, including the installation of new lifts, CCTV system upgrades and improved restroom facilities.
The Education Ministry's decision to abolish examination-oriented learning for school students is aimed at reducing their stress. Its Minister, Farhana Sheikh, says that the current classroom assessment will provide a better benchmark, especially to see and assess children more holistically.
She said this during a question and answer session at the Dewan Rakyat today. Fadlina was answering a supplementary question from Gopeng MP Tan Kah Hing, who wanted to know whether the Education Ministry was prepared to review the school curriculum to reduce academic stress among students. Meanwhile, Fadlina said her ministry always prioritized the welfare and well-being of students, including their psychosocial and mental health. The ministry has implemented the Healthy Mind Screening as an early detection mechanism to identify students facing emotional distress.
Investment scams advertised on TikTok have surged by 90% since 2021, resulting in 15 million ringgit in losses. According to Bukit Aman, a total of 230 scams were recorded in the last 4 years.
Commercial Crime Investigation Department Director Datuk Sri Ramli Muhammad Yusof said the number of scams have risen sharply over the years. There were 13 cases recorded in 2021, 27 in 2022, 59 in 2023, and 131 between January and October this year. In 2024 alone, 6.39 million ringgit in losses have been recorded. He added that the victims consisted of 66 women and 65 men, mostly aged between 31 to 40 years old and employed in the private sector.
Malaysia has issued a warning of heavy rain at dangerous levels along the east coast. Continuous torrential rain is forecast in parts of Terengganu and Pahang until Friday.
In a statement, Met Malaysia said the affected areas in Terengganu include Hulu Terengganu, Marang, Dungun and Kemaman, while in Pahang, Jorantut, Maran, Kuantan, Pekan and Rompin are under alert. Other states, including Kedah, Perak, Kelantan and Johor, may also face severe weather conditions.
We'll go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Penyasaran subsidi diesel di Semenanjung tidak akan memberi kesan kepada harga barangan keperluan di Sabah, Sarawak dan Labuan.
660 individu berusia bawah 21 tahun di Sarawak telah diberikan kewarganegaraan.
Sarawak kini menjalinkan kerjasama dengan Bank Dunia dalam menjayakan perdagangan karbonnya.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda, tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada.
Welcome back. The Israeli cabinet is set to meet and discuss the approval of a ceasefire aimed at temporarily halting hostilities with Lebanon. The proposed deal calls for an initial 2-month ceasefire, during which Israeli forces would withdraw from Lebanon. In return, Hezbollah would cease its armed presence along the southern border. A US-led committee is also being proposed to oversee the implementation of the ceasefire, with provisions allowing Israel to take action against Lebanon should the agreement be violated. US National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said on Monday that while talks are progressing, nothing has been finalized yet. Lebanon's Deputy Parliament Speaker confirmed to Reuters that no major obstacles remain for the agreement's implementation, pending any reversal by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. As truce talks intensified, fierce fighting continues, with Israeli strikes killing at least 31 people on Monday across the war-torn Lebanon. Lebanese authorities report that more than 3,750 people have been killed and at least 15,600 injured since October 2023, with over 1 million people displaced from their homes. Meanwhile, US President-elect Donald Trump has announced plans to impose hefty tariffs on America's three largest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China. Trump, who takes office on January 20th, 2025, says he would impose a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico until they clamp down on drugs, particularly fentanyl, and migrants crossing the border in a move that would appear to violate a free trade deal.
Trump also outlined an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on China. While migrant arrests reached a record during Joe Biden's presidency and strained U.S. border enforcement, illegal crossings fell dramatically this year as Biden instituted new border restrictions and Mexico stepped up enforcement. More than 83% of exports from Mexico went to the U.S. in 2023, and 75% of Canadian exports go to the country. Trump's threatened new tariff would appear to violate the terms of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, on trade. The deal, which Trump signed into law, took effect in 2020 and continued the largely duty-free trade between the three countries. In response, Mexico's finance ministry said that Mexico is the United States' top trading partner, and the USMCA provides a framework of certainty for national and international investors. Meanwhile, the office of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the Canadian Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond to requests for comment.
Over in Indonesia, rescue workers continue their search for missing people in western Indonesia after a weekend of flooding and landslides that have killed at least 20 people. Authorities have deployed heavy equipment to clean up the debris, anticipating the possibility of discovering more victims. Flash floods reportedly left 4 people dead in Delhi's Serdang district, while 11 people were killed in landslides in Karo district on Monday. The death toll climbed to 20 today following the discovery of 5 more bodies in Karo district. The search for survivors resumed on Monday after poor weather and low light forced rescuers and military to halt operations. Search and rescue efforts have been challenging since there is no electricity and cell reception, making it difficult for rescuers to communicate. Indonesia is prone to flooding and landslides during its rainy season, which runs from October to March. Every 10 minutes, that's how often a woman is killed by an intimate partner or someone in her own family globally. That's the stark reality revealed in a new report released by the United Nations. The report estimates that 85,000 women and girls were victims of femicide in 2023. These women were targeted not only by partners or relatives, but also by rapists or strangers. Of those victims, 51,100 were killed by a husband, partner, or close relative, underscoring that home remains the most dangerous place for women. Africa saw the highest rates of femicide, with 21,700 victims last year. In Europe and the Americas, the report found that most women were killed by intimate partners, while in Africa and Asia, family members were more often responsible, reflecting deep-seated cultural dynamics. The UN is calling for urgent global action to combat this epidemic of violence against women, emphasizing that these alarming figures likely undercount the true scale, as many countries lack comprehensive data on gender-based killings. That wraps up AWANI tonight. Check out our web portal, keeping you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astroawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching and good night.